Hey everybody, my name is Clara. I just wanted to do a little introduction episode. I grew up in a traditional Latin Mass community from the age of 6 to 16, and I started this podcast really just to talk about my experience there. I was born in a small town, and we went to a small town, Nova Sordo, until I was 5. Then we moved across the country for my dad's job, and once we got there, we found the Latin Mass and started going there. And yeah, so that's where I spent most of my time in the most formative years of my life. So I have lots of thoughts on that. When I was 16, my family left the Latin Mass, and I really didn't want to leave the Latin Mass when I did. And so I kind of left kicking and screaming, and it took me a long time to sort out my thoughts, and I'm still sorting them out. And that's why I have this podcast, because I have a lot more learning and healing to do, and I've really learned a lot from it, and I'm still learning a lot from it, and from that transition from Latin Mass to the Novus Ordo and hearing all the differing opinions. Yeah, one thing I really learned from that, when I left, I was incredibly judgmental of everybody at the Novus Ordo, because I had heard all my life, that wasn't the right thing to do. And so, yeah, it brought a lot of thoughts up, and I eventually realized how judgmental I was slowly, and I had to combat that. And now I really believe that having an open mind and hearing thoughts from other people is one of the most important things that we can do to strengthen our faith, to have better relationships, and to love everybody around us more. And so that's something I really encourage you to do if you're listening to this podcast. Whether you agree or disagree with the things that I say, I hope that they make you think and that you can learn to have an open mind. I was also taught in the Latin Mass not to question authority, not to question my faith, right? You can't question priests, you can't question any adult, anybody who is in authority over you, you can't question. But that is not what our church really teaches, and I encourage you actually to question the things that they say and to dig deeper into what our church actually teaches, and to think for yourself about things. I think, yeah, I often heard like, oh, you can have questions about your faith, but you can't doubt it. But that's a silly thing to say, guys, because the questions that we have often come from doubts, and that's okay. And that's how we grow deeper in our relationship with Jesus, and that's how we learn more about our faith and strengthen our beliefs. So I just really encourage you to come here with an open mind and to question your beliefs. And the last thing I want to say is I want to make it so clear that nothing I say in this podcast is to shame my parents. I will be talking about the ways that I think that they could have done things differently or mistakes that they made. But it's out of a place of love, and I am so grateful for them, and I truly believe that they did the best that they could with what they knew, and they made every decision with my betterment in mind, right? Like, their ultimate goal is to get me to heaven, and they did the best they could with what they knew, truly. And I think I've turned out pretty good, if I do say so myself. So I think they did something right. So I love them very much, and nothing that I say is to shame them or the way that they parented or the choices that they made. So I'm so grateful that you're here to follow along in my journey, or just to pop in here and there and hear what I have to say. Yeah, I hope that this makes you think, and I would love to discuss anything with you. I have a Substack. If you are not sure what Substack is, it's a social media platform that is for writers, basically. But anyone can join, and it's a great place to have discussions. So if you'd like to have some discussions, share your thoughts, Tell me what you agree with and don't agree with what I'd say. I would love to hear it, and I'd love to talk to you. So if you want to join that, there's a link in my bio. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. God bless everybody. Bye.